Compared to your startup and small not-for-profit segments, mid-sized not-for-profit require very different capabilities from the CRM perspective. So which are the top 10 sized not-for-profit CRMs in 2004? That's what we'll discuss in this video. So let's dive in. Hello, everyone. My name is Sam Gupta. I am principal at The Weight. The Weight IQ is the independent CRM, ERP, and digital transformation consulting firm. We help our clients with digital transformation strategy, CRM selection, implementation, change management. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is going to be top 10 mid-sized, not-for-profit CRMs in 2024. Before we look at the list, let's review how we define the mid-size segment. So in general, in this particular case, you are going to have roughly 100 to 1,000 employees. And this is still going to be very customer-centric touch points that we are covering as part of CRM. If we are going to have the operational financial workflows, then you get into the ERP territory. So from the customer touch point perspective, you are looking at any of the channels, such as your pre-sales, post-sales, any of those interactions, whether you are looking at this more from the customer service, field service, call center-centric workflows, any of the channels, such as your email, text, website, wherever your customers are coming from. So all of those interaction points are going to be part of the whole CRM bucket. And in general, the mid-sized not-for-profit CRMs in this particular segment, when you are going to be here at this point of time, now you are going to be bigger. So you would require slightly richer security workflows. You are probably going to have a little hierarchy in your departments. You are going to have larger donors. So you are going to require slightly different data model compared to your smaller and the startup segment. So some of the things that are common with the companies in this particular segment is going to be that their implementation budget is still going to be limited. It might not be as limited as your startup or a small. So they are going to have some implementation budget, but it might not be as high as your large company. So that's where they are still looking for some of the pre-baked functionality as opposed to them implementing everything from scratch. So then they also have the limited internal IT maturity. In this particular segment, the transaction volume is not going to be as high to require some of those enterprise-grade systems. So you can still live with the other systems that are going to be designed for the mid-market segment. And then they are going to have far richer integration requirements, both from upstream and downstream perspective. At this point of time, you are going to get much larger donors, and they are going to have the reporting requirements. So you are looking at slightly deeper transactional capabilities. Your business model is probably going to grow. So you are going to need slightly more diverse systems as opposed to the prescriptive systems. Then the data sets need to be connected as well. Maybe at this point of time, you are looking at the whole customer 360, combining all of the channels. Before this, you might be using many different CRMs, many different channels. So sometimes those in the startup and small segment, they might not be as integrated. And then at this point of time, you are probably going to require a little bit of planning as well as the budgeting requirement. The planning requirements may not be as deep as your large segment, but still you are probably going to need some of those. As part of this list, we consider every single not-for-profit business model, such as your associations, education, healthcare, charities, religious orgs. All of those are going to be part of. As part of this list, area that we consider to compile these lists is the product share, the acquisition strategy, the technology strategy, the win rate, the community ecosystem. All of these factors we look at to compile this list. So now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is Neon CRM. And Neon CRM is part of that prescriptive category where they are going to have a lot more last mile capabilities, but they are not going to be as capable to accommodate diverse business models. So they are going to be ideal for mid-market not-for-profit using siloed departmental instances. Meaning, if you are going to be limited on budget, sometimes you might want to use multiple CRMs if you are going to have different business models, because in that you are not going to get the centralized view of your customers. You might not be able to track and trace the customer as part of distance across the departments. But if you are going to be limited on your budget, or the other departments may not be aligned with you in adopting the CRM as well, then you don't have a choice but to use a siloed CRM. So in those cases, your Neon CRM could be a great fit. The other strengths that you're looking at from Neon CRM perspective is that you are going to have a lot more built-in functionality for not-for-profit, such as your fundraising, event registration, and these capabilities you might need to develop on top of your generalized vanilla CRMs that we have on this list. The membership management, the volunteer scheduling, etc. These are very advanced capabilities. They will require a lot of consulting budget to be able to enable on top of your Zohos of the world, HubSpot, Salesforce of the world, even though you might be able to find some of the add-ons in those ecosystems. But again, you are still looking at very high consulting budget. Neon CRM is going to be far more affordable because they have all of these workflows built as part of the system. The other limitations that you're looking at from the Neon CRM perspective is the reporting capabilities. The reporting capabilities are going to be limited, but again, this is a very small system. It's a very suite-centric system, so reporting capabilities might not be as rich. The customizability is going to be limited as well, but again, this is a prescriptive suite, and you are buying it for budget, so you might not. So that's going to be a challenge as well, and then it's probably not going to be a great fit for the diverse organizations accommodating many different business models as part of the same CRM. Having said that, Neon CRM is a great fit for the companies that might be seeking it for at the departmental level or just for individual function. So that's number 10. Number 9 on our list is Virtuous. And Virtuous is slightly bigger, prescriptive system. They are also going to be relevant when you are using it more at the departmental level. For example, let's say if you have your business development or fund development department and they want to use a siloed system compared to your any other functions. For example, let's say you have the event management or the volunteer management or the workforce management. All of those functions might use their own CRM. So in those instances, Virtuous still may be a great fit, even though these instances are not going to be connected. They might not talk to each other. The sense that you're looking at from the Virtuous perspective is the best of breed capabilities for not-for-profit that is going to be pre-built, pre-baked, and because of that, it's going to be easier to use. It's going to be easier to implement. You don't have any sort of financial risks, but again, it's not going to be as diverse. They also have the automation journeys, so you can do slightly more sophisticated workflows that you might not be able to do with slightly smaller systems. They also have the integrated payment processing. So if you have those use cases, you are going to have the integrated functionality. Because of that, you don't have to invest as much on the consulting implementation, but at the same time, you are compromising on the rate because now you are going to be locked with their payment provider, and you might not be able to switch that. They might not be to sell the system to you if you don't want to use their payment provider, because they are factoring in that as part of their pricing model, and that's why their licensing may be cheaper. The other limitations that we are looking at from the Virtuous perspective is this is not a great fit for the diverse organizations. The email templates might not be as user-friendly, and reporting might not be as intuitive. So these are some of the limitations, and that's number 9. Number 8 on our list is Kiteful Bloomerang. Even though Kiteful Bloomerang systems, they are very well adopted, among not-for-profit. But again, at this stage in the mid-market, you are going to require a lot richer capabilities from the not-for-profit perspective that you might not be able to find with the prescriptive systems. And the Kiteful Bloomerang, they are very prescriptive systems, in general, their security layers are not going to be as rich. The customizability is not going to be as rich either. They will not be able to accommodate the diverse business models. So in general, the other strengths that you're looking at from the kindful boomerang perspective is it's easier to use, easier to implement, easier to relate, because you are going to get a lot more not-for-profit functionality. But again, the way the model is designed, you are going to have, for example, data integrity issues. Just because the model is simplified, it's very flat. You might not be able to accommodate all of those complex customer profiles that you are going to get when you are going to be in the mid-market. But again, if you are on the budget, then this could be a great system for you. And then the other limitations that you're looking at from the boomerang perspective is that they are mandating their payment processor as well as part of their licensing arrangement. So again, you are going to have many different layers. Sometimes it might be harder to estimate the total cost of ownership with these systems because you are going to have many different price points. So make sure you guys work with somebody who sort of can help you with that, or pay attention to different price point, read very carefully in terms of what you are going to be paying at the end of the day, because they are going to charge the percentage fee per donation as well. So there are going to be some that you need to keep in mind, and that's summary. Number 7 on our list is Bonterra, and this is a slightly bigger system in the prescriptive category compared to the other systems that we have reviewed so far. So the other strength that you are looking at from the Bonterra perspective is the support is going to be far richer in general. With the prescriptive systems, you are looking at much better support, easier to use, easier to implement. That is something that you are going to see with the majority of the prescriptive systems. And then they have far richer capabilities in accommodating many different channels compared to the smaller systems. So for example, let's say if you are trying to combine text as well along with your website as well as your email, then Bonterra is going to have those capabilities. The limitations that you're looking at from the Bonterra perspective is that it is not going to be as great for the diverse not-for-profit if you are going to have many different business models, and the customer hierarchies are not going to be as complex and to be able to accommodate. And generally in the mid-market, you are probably going to require that. And then you are also going to have the per transaction charges, which could be a huge roadblock, especially if you are processing a lot of different transactions. So that's number 7. Number 6 on our list is Blackboard CRM. And Blackboard has 2 different products. One is your Razor's Edge, and the second is the CRM. This is a bigger product. And this one is going to be slightly more customizable compared to the previous one. So here you are going to have far richer capabilities. For example, grant tracking, fund tracking, etc. Those capabilities are going to be here. So the other strength that you're looking at from the Blackboard CRM perspective is complete suite for not-for-profit. Not-for-profit capabilities are going to be pre-baked as well. And then integration with the Microsoft Power Platform. And that's a huge flexibility. Let's say if you want to develop your custom workflows, interactions, etc., that is very relevant functionality for a lot of not-for-profit. So this is going to be a great fit there. The other limitations that you're looking at from the Blackboard perspective is the scalability and customizability. The technology and the cloud native feature, they are going to be limited. And then you are going to have a little inconsistency between their on-prem version and the cloud version. The cloud version is not there yet overall in terms of the feature set. And the on-prem version is going to feel very legacy when you are going to use that. Sometimes when you are looking at the demo, they are going to show the cloud version. But then when you start using that for the richer features, you might need to go back to your on-prem version. So that is something you need to keep in mind when you are reviewing this. So that's number 6. Number 5 on our list is HubSpot CRM. And HubSpot CRM, this is going to be great for the mid-market companies. Let's say if you are going to be very diverse in your business model and you are looking at much deeper capabilities from the CRM perspective, but then your implementation budget is going to be much higher. You are assuming a lot of financial risks because you need to implement all of those workflows on top of the core platform. So the core technical features are going to be far richer, but you are not going to find the not-for-profit flavor. And because of that, it's going to be much more expensive to implement. The strengths that you're looking at is the CMS built with the platform for omni-channel tracking. So you can develop your website on HubSpot itself, and that's where you're going to get the traceability across your channels. So you are going to get a lot more data if you care for that. But again, the implementation is going to be far higher. The ecosystem integration, you are going to find a lot of platforms as part of their ecosystem as well as integration. If you require, for example, let's say if you need to integrate with any of the data providers, or if you need to integrate with any of the communication providers, all of those capabilities are going to be part of their ecosystem. And the technology is cloud native, so you can expect all of those features such as your enterprise search, mobility, overall the UI UX is going to be far richer, even though HubSpot is a very complex system. So sometimes companies might feel that it is very layered and you might need to perform a lot of clicks in general to get to what you are looking for. So sometimes that may be perceived as slightly frightening. But again, for the mid-market, when you need those complex features, then you would require the data model that these systems are providing. So for mid-market, this is going to be a great fit. Enterprise limitations that you're looking at from the HubSpot perspective is the custom objects are limited. They are not going to have as deep triggers. So we run into challenges with the not-for-profit implementation with HubSpot. So make sure you hire a consulting firm that can help you build the solution architecture before you sign the contract, because their custom objects are going to be fairly limited. They are not going to have as deep capabilities in general with their workflow triggers, etc. So you are going to run into a lot of challenges in implementing this for not-for-profit. In general, the not-for-profit segment, they require mid-market segment requires far deeper capabilities in terms of the kind of business objects that you are going to be needing, the kind of workflows that you are going to be needing. So overall, the customizability is going to be limited. You might outgrow that pretty fast. Having said that, HubSpot could be a great system for companies that are looking for the omni-channel traceability, omni-channel connectivity of different channels from the upstream marketing perspective. And that's number 5. So 4 on our list is Creatio. And Creatio might not be as well known in the not-for-profit space, might not be as well adopted, but this is a great technical system. They have a lot of no-code, low-code features where you need to develop a lot of these capabilities on top of the core platform. So the challenges that you are going to run into with systems such as your HubSpot, Salesforce, just because their data model may not be as friendly for the customization, with Creatio, they are exposing their technical model, and generally those technical models are going to be far more customizable in general compared to the other systems that we have on this list. So if you are going to be very diverse, if you look for very customizable technical model, then Creatio could be a great fit. But at the same time, when you opt for that, you're also increasing your consulting implementation budget, because all of the features that you are going to be pre-baked with a lot of prescriptive and the suite-centric systems, they are not going to be built as part of your Creatio. You are looking at building them. So that's why your implementation budget in general is going to be higher. The integration and ecosystem, they have much richer integrations and ecosystem, but they might not be as tailored for the not-for-profit segment. The kind of integrations that you are going to look for in the not-for-profit segments, they might not be as available with Creatio. Even though you're going to find a lot of add-ons, they might not be as relevant for the not-for-profit segment. They also have the deployment flexibility. And if you are worried about your deployment cost or the infrastructure cost and you want that flexibility, sometimes companies require this flexibility because they have some of the data restrictions that might be regulatory in nature. If you have all of those constraints, at least you have the flexibility in where you want to deploy this on-prem, private cloud or public cloud. The smaller systems are most likely going to be private cloud. So here you have that flexibility, and that's a huge plus. The other limitations that you're looking at from Creatio perspective is the UI is likely to be clunkier compared to the other systems, and the marketing automation may not be as intuitive. So that's number 4. Number 3 on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE. And this is great for mid-market, not-for-profit companies with the diverse operations. In general, with Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE, the advantage that you are going to get is, number one, it's going to be a very rich CRM that is going to be designed for very complex transactional operational workflows. And in general, in the not-for-profit segment, especially once you are going to get into all of those fund reporting, grant reporting sort of scenarios, that's where you are going to require far more connectivity of your data sets, the business objects that you're going to have, the kind of reporting that you need to do. That may not be possible with the smaller systems. So that's where Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE really shines. By the way, this has the business model along with the business state that you are going to get from the UI perspective. You are also going to have the technical model that developers can easily customize. So it's a very comprehensive enterprise grade system. So if you're looking for a very highly customizable system, this could be a great fit. Then other strengths that you're looking at from the Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE perspective is there are going to be a lot of pre-built add-ons, such as your mission CRM that is going to be part of the ecosystem. They are going to have a lot of those not-for-profit layers that are not going to be built as part of the core product model as part of your Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE. But keep in mind, when you acquire any of these products, they are trying to expose that business-centric state, business-centric model. And when you do that, then you are looking at customizing mission CRM. And when you do that, sometimes there might be legal challenges in terms of customizing that, because now they are sort of hijacking the workflow. You need to customize that. So the customizability that might be part of your Microsoft core product, that might not be available for you because you are customizing again the licensed product. So that is something to keep in mind. That is the challenge that you are going to get with the majority of the licensed product. So just because Microsoft may be far more customizable if you are using an add-on, and that is not as customizable, so you are still going to run into all of those challenges. But at least if you are going to be limited on your implementation budget, Mission CRM could be a great fit. This is going to be full suite. So for example, let's say if you need to integrate this with your ERP workflows or the field service workflows, and if you are going to be part of, if you're utilizing a lot of different Microsoft products, then that could be a great fit. The other limitation that you're looking at from the Microsoft perspective is they are going to have far lighter marketing automation CMS capabilities. And in general, a lot of companies, what they do is if they care for those marketing automation CMS-centric features, then they are probably going to utilize the Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE for the core CRM, operational workflows for grant reporting, fund reporting, etc. But then they are going to use a marketing automation system, for example, HubSpot, for the core email interaction, the website, etc. And that's okay model, because in general, the marketing automation does not need to be as tightly integrated with your CRM workflows, but then you sort of lose the traceability with this approach. So again, there are going to be always pros and cons of each of the approaches, but these guys are going to be limited with their marketing automation as well as CMS capabilities. Then the other limitations that you're looking at is they are also going to have very steep learning curve just because of the kind of business objects that you have. It's much harder to use, much harder to implement in general. So those are some of the limitations, and that's number 3. Number 2 on our list is Salesforce, and Salesforce is going to be very similar to your Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE, even though Salesforce is going to have the not-for-profit service pack, but that not-for-profit service pack is going to be fairly limited as well, even though it is coming from Salesforce, but you are probably going to run into the same challenges as your Mission CRM, where you are going to be limited in customizing that, because again, that's a very prescriptive model that they are trying to expose. But overall, the Salesforce as a platform is very customizable, just like your Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE. So if you are going to have very diverse not-for-profit processes, then this could be a great fit. So the other strength that you're looking at from the Salesforce perspective is the enterprise territory planning as well as the sales comp. If you are going to be richer in those areas, or you are looking for richer capabilities in those areas, then Salesforce could be a great fit. The limitations that you're looking at from the Salesforce perspective is the marketing automation product is not going to be as tightly embedded as you are going to find with the other systems, such as your HubSpot, even though they have the marketing automation product, but it is not as immersed as part of the product. So you lose a little bit of traceability from the vendor perspective, from the licensing perspective. It might be easier to get these things from the same vendor, but again, the communication is not as rich between these two systems, at least as of today. And you're looking at very expensive consulting cost, just like your Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE, and the website integration might be trickier as well with Salesforce, just because that marketing automation component is not as immersive as you are going to find with several other CRM systems. So that's number 2. Number 1 on our list is Zoho CRM. And Zoho CRM is great for not-for-profit seeking customizable suite for transactional workflows. So overall, the data model, the transaction model is going to be very similar to your Salesforce. they are going to have a lot of apps that are bundled as part of the same product. And from the cost perspective, they are going to be far more affordable. Salesforce is far more expensive. So the other strength that you're looking at from the Zoho CRM perspective is that and you are going to have a lot more detailed triggers. You will be able to build custom apps on top of your Zoho CRM. And then you are going to have the similar capabilities as you are going to have for the core object as well as for the custom object. When you compare this with systems as in your HubSpot is going to be very limited in terms of the customizability. That limitation is not there with Zoho CRM, but Zoho CRM is going to have its own limitations. For example, the data model that you have for each of the apps, they are completely separate. So you are not going to have as much collaboration between those apps, but that might be okay for the mid-market companies. You are not going to get the completely integrated state with Zoho CRM, but if you are opting for that, then that is going to be slightly harder to use, much more expensive to implement in general. So you have the best of both worlds here, that you have much richer capabilities, but it's not going to be as limited, at least for the mid-market segment. And the other strength that we have from the Zoho CRM perspective is that the enterprise apps are part of the suite. So when you are looking at those grant and fund reporting workflows, you have the project management module that is included as part of the CRM, that is bundled as part of their app portfolio. Then you also have the accounting. Let's say if you want to migrate that as well, you can do that. But keep in mind that their data centers cannot communicate with each other. So let's say if you are going to be a global organization, then you might run into challenges. But let's say if you are present in just one country, then you might be okay in keeping all of those processes in just one bundle. The limitations that you're looking at from the Zoho CRM perspective is that data model is completely separate for each app. The CMS is not going to be as robust as HubSpot, and no communication across data centers. So that's number one. If you enjoyed this video, we are going to include a link of a detailed article that is going to have much deeper insights. So you might want to check that. This podcast is also available on major podcasting platforms. So you might want to check there and just subscribe. We publish these videos on a weekly basis. So if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, you might want to do that. If you have not checked our digital transformation report for 2024, you are going to find very similar insights there. So you might want to download that. We are going to include the link as well. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.